Welcome to Business Spotlight, where we get insights, we get reflections, and we get pearls of wisdom from local business owners. And my name is Ceri James. I'm a business coach and facilitator. But today, the Business Spotlight is firmly on Dr. Joanne Tippett, founder and managing director of Ketso Limited. Good morning to you, Joanne.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Excellent. Let's get stuck straight in, if we may, please, Joanne. Give us a bit of an overview, a little bit of history and a summary of what you specialize in, please, at Ketso.
Okay. So Ketso is a social business that I founded in 2009. The word Ketso means action in Lesotho, where I invented a hands-on kit for creative engagement and learning. I did this so that I could make sure I could hear everyone's voice in dialogue in the work I was doing in rural regeneration, and develop this sort of innovative way of making sure that in a conversation, everybody's voice was heard in a structured way to really develop new ideas and thinking. And what I found through my research was that this was a toolkit that could be used in almost any circumstance where people wanted to talk with each other, learn from each other, and develop new ideas. And that's what gave me the impetus to actually found it as a business.
Excellent. So who would be your ideal or your kind of target audience for the business, Joanne?
Right, we've got three target audiences. One is the people who are working with stakeholders or community members or the public in thinking about redesigning service delivery. So we've sold a lot of kits to the NHS, to the Scottish Government, to people working with river basin management. Wherever you've got a complex, big issue that you want to think through and you want to get lots of different views on. So that's one. The second is actually universities and educators. So we've developed a hands-on learning tool for really helping people with their planning their assignments, planning their writing, helping students to really engage in active learning. So a learning market. And also people who are running their own businesses, people who want to develop an action plan, want to engage with their staff, want to engage with their customers, and actually think things through in a more innovative way. And we've had some really interesting feedback from business owners that it's helped them to achieve get more ideas more quickly, and actually get new insights that they might not have got before because they're actually listening to different perspectives.
Excellent. Well, here at Action Coach, we're big fans of action, so that's interesting to hear those two elements and the origin of the name of the business as well. Tell us a little bit more. I know you're involved on the academic side as well. That's kind of overlap with your research interests in the business. Tell us a little bit more about that, please.
Right. Well, all of my research has been about two questions. How do we plan for a sustainable future? And how can we work together effectively to achieve that? I'm a senior lecturer in the School of Environment, Education and Development at the University of Manchester. And I'm lucky enough to be teaching a class called Designing Sustainable Futures and a class called Planning for Environmental Change. So this is my passion. How do we imagine a sustainable future? Now, Ketso as a tool came out of that work. It came out of how do we talk together effectively? How do we think into the future in really asking serious questions about how we can make change? As a business, I launched it. It's almost a mechanism to make those ideas from all of those decades of research accessible to anyone. So the idea is it's embedding all of this thinking that's gone into the research into a tool that's so easy to use that anybody in the world can literally pick up a kit, read the instructions, watch a few videos, and run an effective workshop based on that research. And indeed, Ketso has now been used in over 85 countries. So it really has got the ideas out into the world.
So I can hear the contribution from your dog there, and that kind of brings me on to my next question, actually, Joanne.
Yeah.
Plenty of things have changed over the last 3 years, including a lot more dogs being present on videos. How has the interest rate, inflation rate, the lockdown itself, people working more from home, etc. How has that influenced your business, would you say?
Okay, that's a really good question. Well, the very positive side for us was in the early days of the pandemic. I thought, right, that's it, business over. We run a business where we sell kits for hands-on, face-to-face engagement. So that we're just not going to be able to do that for years, and it'll probably just going to go under. That was the first thought. A couple of days later, okay, pull yourself together. What we're going to do about it? So what we did was we actually developed a whole new way of thinking about Ketso. We turned it into an individual pack that we could send in the post. And within months of thinking of this, I'd sent these to several hundred of my own students. We started sending them out to the people we were engaging with through projects I was working on that actually led to the first post-industrial urban national nature reserve. We did the engagement online in the pandemic, sending people these packs. They then get them out, open them up, do some work on sort of talking on screen, doing some work, everybody all over the world working on it, and take pictures of the images to share with each other. So it totally transformed our thinking about what Ketso could be. And that has now turned into a learning pack that we sent, that has been sent out to thousands of students, either in just face-to-face students that are coming in and they get their pack and they get to use it, or to distance learners around the world. And we found that also, because we've really sort of repackaged it into something that's so simple, so light, so small, so accessible, that lots of people are using it in their work, just like as a planning tool, really. So it's really helped us rethink the business. That's one, and a second thing that came out of lockdown for me was working at home with my daughter. Trying to think of something we could do together that brought my work and her interest in art and her, let's face it, sheer need to be amused in some way, because it was just so difficult together. And we started thinking of new ways of teaching ideas. In the first instance, it was sustainability ideas, because that's my day job, using physical blocks. And what did we have to hand? We had paracetamol boxes. We used paracetamol boxes to actually mock up different word puzzles and picture puzzles that turned into three-dimensional games, which has now launched a whole new product line, a whole new way of thinking about learning engagement, which has attracted the interest of UNESCO UK, and a whole new project testing different ways of doing sustainability learning and community and partnership engagement in UNESCO sites. So lots of really positive things. And also, of course, the challenges that almost all of our raw materials have got more expensive. That we're needing to, but that's pushing us to think, how can we do things as we're already trying to use offcuts and really trying to reuse materials and be as environmentally friendly as possible. I guess it's just upping the ante on that thinking for us.
So it sounds very flexible in terms of the type of organisations you could work with. Then, Joanne, what do you see as the current challenges? You mentioned costs, but in terms of the growing the business, what would you say are the main challenges?
I see three main challenges. One is it's still getting the word out. I don't. If I had a pound for every person that said to me, "Ooh, why haven't I heard of Ketso? What's going on? Why have I not been using this for the last several years?" I'd be a rich person. So it's still, we've been mainly growing through word of mouth and networks, and I think it's still that, how do we tip that into something that is a bigger, more successful process of communication. Of course, there's that sense for everybody that costs are higher, and can we afford anything extra? I think our biggest message with that is that Ketso helps you make the most productive use of people's time. So actually, it's an investment. It's like a sort of hands-on physical toolkit. It's instead of people thinking of it like, oh, that's more expensive than post-it notes, it is more expensive than buying post-it notes. It's more, oh, that's a really, really amazing computer that I can use with lots and lots of people, and I can use it over and over. It's a durable resource. It's a bit of kit that I can use again and again. But when you're in a very cost-conscious environment, people are wary about any extra spend, especially on something new. And then I think there's just this challenge that we've got of really, people are sort of, we're in a little bit of, I think of a fearful time of people are worried about maybe, I feel like a bit like people are worried about exploring some of the challenging issues just because there's so much anger, and that might make people feel a bit more nervous about opening up big workshops to explore issues. I mean, like how to reduce traffic. Look what's been happening around the 15-minute city and how heated that has got so quickly. And I think there's an interesting tension here between the fact that Ketso actually would really help diffuse those situations and make them much more into a creative, structured dialogue, but people are a bit nervous about even having some of those dialogues about difficult issues at the moment.
Okay. And what about the competitive situation? Do you have a small number of key specific competitors, or is it quite a broad
That's interesting.
marketplace?
Sometimes I wonder if it'd be easier if we did have some more clear competitors where people say, oh yeah, no, I'll go the Ketso version instead of the it was almost like, is post-it notes my competitor? They're not. But you don't really think of post-it notes as a structured way to run a whole workshop. I guess the biggest one probably is people saying, let's just do it all online. It would be more efficient and effective to do it online, and missing that creative spark and the dialogue that comes from people talking to each other face to face. So I suspect actually it's almost, our competitor is the idea of the efficiency of an online only process.
Yes, that's interesting, isn't it? Having a broad perspective on your consideration of what is your competitor. In fact, you could argue that in the business coaching world, probably our biggest competitor is business owners that don't do anything in terms of their coaching. So it's interesting that you have that broader perspective on it. So what about moving forward? What about aspirations for the business over the next few years, Joanne? What are the headlines there, do you think?
Okay, well, one headline is I want Ketso to become a verb. Is this an important? I wanted to get to the point where people in boardrooms, partnerships, local authorities, they just know about Ketso. So they say, is this an important enough issue that we should Ketso it? Is this something we should go ahead? We need to take this seriously. We better Ketso it. So that's the ambition, and I really want that to be, it becomes something where people just know, yeah, we should do that because that makes sense. I want to see that universities across the UK and eventually around the world just provide one of these to their students when they show up, because it helps them learn. It helps them with their writing. It helps them learn with their planning. So I want that to become just embedded. And I particularly have an ambition for that because it's so inclusive. It's so powerful for students with neurodiversity, for students who are shy, for international students, for people who maybe struggle to learn in quite the linear way that universities offer. It really helps provide an inclusive platform at the same time as a springboard for the really, really able, the ones who are just running ahead with their writing. It sort of helps them take it further. So it sort of brings those together into embedded inclusivity. So really seeing this embedded into education. And I've got this incredibly exciting opportunity. I've just won a British Academy Innovation Fellowship with the United Kingdom Commission for UNESCO to explore the integration of the innovative sustainability learning that came out of lockdown, that really allows you to leave sort of big wooden learning tools in galleries and museums and visitor centers, and the community and partnership engagement side of Ketso to really turn UNESCO sites into sites of thinking differently about sustainability. So we're testing that in several sites in Scotland and the UK in this next year. I have an ambition to see that as a global rollout, that we actually see that across the world with these sort of educational resources for sustainability and the participatory governance that comes with it across UNESCO sites globally.
Excellent. Well done.
That might be a little bit more than just 5 years, a couple of years. Yeah.
Well done on the Innovation Award. That's great to build on, isn't it? And comes back to the point earlier about growing awareness. That's got to help in that area, isn't it? But so to Ketso, to become a verb to Ketso something, so that the Hoover of the action learning world. Very good. Excellent. Okay.
Exactly.
Cool. John, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Just one final question, if I may, for our viewers of Business Spotlight. Any information or any offers that you'd like to share with people?
Yeah, I'd really say if you're running a business, it would be a great idea to try out Ketso Connect. It's small, simple. You can sit by your desk, use it to plan out some projects. It's got a grid for action planning. It's a great way just to get your ideas down and really rethink things. And we're offering a 10% discount on all of our kits up until the end of April 2023. So a Ketso Connect is $29.95 normally, 10% off. It's a real cheap and easy way just to give it a go. And if you like it, you might want to try a bigger kit to engage with your staff, with your customers, and to really sort of bring in a bit more engagement thinking into your way of working.
Very good. Excellent. All right, and Joanne. Well, thanks ever so much for your time and your contribution today, and all the very best with Ketso.
Thank you.